The kingdom of Iolcus in ancient Greece was ruled by a powerful king named Pelias. However, his reign was not without controversy. Pelias seized the throne from his half-brother Ezin and became increasingly paranoid about losing his power. When he learned of a prophecy that stated a man with one sandal would overthrow him, his fear became overwhelming. One day, a young man named Jason returned to Iolcus wearing just one sandal. Pelias immediately felt threatened and issued him a seemingly impossible challenge, to retrieve the golden fleece from a distant land. Pelias hoped that Jason would fail on his quest and perish, removing any potential threat to his reign. Jason, however, was determined to succeed. He assembled a team of brave heroes, including the famous Hercules, and set off on a perilous journey to retrieve the golden fleece. The journey was long and treacherous, filled with danger and unexpected obstacles. Yet, Jason and his team pressed on and eventually succeeded in their quest. Upon Jason's return, Pelias was furious and refused to relinquish the throne. But the people of Iolcus supported Jason and eventually a civil war broke out. Jason and his army emerged victorious, and Pelias was banished from the kingdom. The tale of Pelias, Jason, and the Golden Fleece has been retold for centuries, cementing their place in Greek mythology. It is a story of betrayal, prophecy, and adventure that reminds us of the power of determination and courage. Tyro, the wife of King Cretheus, was a beautiful woman, but her heart belonged to Enopeus, a river god. However, Enopeus had rejected her advances. Tyro felt heartbroken, until one day, Poseidon, the god of the sea, disguised himself as Enopeus and came to her. Poseidon and Tyro slept together, and 9 months later, she gave birth to twin sons, Pelias and Neleus. Afraid of what her husband, King Cretheus, would do if he found out about the affair, Tyro abandoned her sons on a mountain to die. Fortunately, a herdsman found them and raised them as his own. As the boys grew up, they discovered their true heritage and confronted their mother. Tyro, filled with remorse for abandoning her sons, helped them kill her cruel stepmother, Cytero. Pelias was determined to gain power and took control of the kingdom, exiling his half-brother Neleus and imprisoning his other half-brother, Ezin. Ezin married and had a child, Jason, but feared for his son's life. He sent Jason away to be raised by Chiron the centaur on Mount Pelion. Years later, an oracle warned Pelias of a man with one sandal who would one day take his throne. Jason, with just one sandal, went to Iolcus, where he announced his claim to the throne. Pelias recognized him as his nephew and promised to abdicate in exchange for Jason bringing him the Golden Fleece, a magical artifact that could grant wishes. And so begins the famous Greek myth of Jason and the Argonauts, as the hero sets out on a perilous journey to retrieve the Golden Fleece. But that is a story for another day. Jason, a notable Greek mythological hero, had gained fame by his involvement in the quest for the Golden Fleece. His journey began when he lost one of his sandals while rushing to Iolcus to participate in a sacrifice offered by Pelias in honor of Poseidon. Later, Hera, the queen of the gods in Greek mythology, disguised herself as an old woman whom he helped and lost his sandal in the river. Upon Jason's arrival in Iolcus, one sandal clad, he terrified Pelias, who asked him what he would do if confronted by the man who would be his doom. Jason's reply suggested he would retrieve the Golden Fleece, which Pelias took as advice and sent him on that quest. Jason then planned to retrieve the Golden Fleece from a grove sacred to Ares, the god of war, in Colchis, where an ever-vigilant dragon guarded it and seemingly made the task impossible. To start his journey, Jason asked Argus to build a large enough ship, which he named the Argo, to carry 50 men on his quest called the Argonauts. They arrived at Colchis where King Aeetes refused to give them the Golden Fleece and demanded Jason to yoke a pair of fire-breathing bulls to a plow and sow dragon's teeth into the earth. Jason met Medea, the daughter of Aeetes, who fell in love with him and offered to help him with her magical powers. She ensured that the dragon was spellbound, enabling Jason to collect the Golden Fleece from the oak tree. At this moment, Medea's brother Absyrtus appeared and attempted to reclaim his family's treasure. Being fearful of Jason's wrath, Medea lured Absyrtus into a trap and murdered him. Jason, Medea, and the Argonauts, along with the Golden Fleece, set sail towards Thessaly, leaving behind a trail of chaos and tragedy. In Greek mythology, there once was a man named Pelias who refused to step down from his throne when Jason and the Argonauts returned from their quest. Despite his fear of being overthrown, Pelias told Aeson and Promachus, Jason's father and brother, respectively, that the Argo had sunk, causing them to commit suicide. Some even suspected that Pelias may have killed them himself. Medea, Jason's wife, was outraged by Pelias' deceit and plotted to take revenge. She promised her own daughters that she could turn an old ram into a young one by boiling it and demonstrated this by having the ram jump out of the pot. The girls believed that they could rejuvenate their father by doing the same, so they cut Pelias into pieces and threw him into a pot, hoping that he would come back as a new person. Unfortunately, Pelias did not survive the ordeal. This gruesome act left Jason implicated in the crime, and he was unable to take the throne despite his heroic accomplishments. Pelias' son Acastus eventually banished Jason and Medea to Corinth, thus reclaiming the kingdom for himself. However, there is an alternate version of the story where Medea takes revenge against Aeson, Jason's father, instead. She slits his throat and brings him back to life as a younger man, sparking Pelias' daughters to believe that they could do the same for their father. They slit Pelias' throat, but Medea betrays them by leaving him dead, resulting in her exile with Jason to Corinth. Despite the different details, the common thread that runs through both versions of the story is the tragic consequences of seeking revenge.
Do you want to explore more Greek mythology stories? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.